Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, the mayor of Henderson joins us, Debra March, here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Hello, is this D&D Roofing?
Yes, it is. How may I help you?
You did such a great job on my roof. May I speak to the owner?
I am an owner.
Oh, can I speak to your supervisor?
Sure.
How may I help you?
I love your work. May I speak to the owner?
I am an owner. We're all owners. Well, that's why at D&D we work so hard to keep your home safe and sound.
Oh, no wonder.
D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal. Local, employee-owned, here for you.
Retail's impact on Nevada's economy? Enormous. 8,600 businesses, large and small, employing 145,000 workers. And last fiscal year, retail paid tax on nearly $60 billion in sales. We're the Retail Association of Nevada. We support retail, we help it grow, and we mean business.
RANNV.org.
Take a look at Pro Group Management and see how your workers' comp requirements can be met head-on. By taking a proactive approach, Pro Group can assure that your company is meeting or exceeding state and federal standards. As you move forward in your industry, Pro Group moves with you, simplifying regulatory tasks, clearing the way so you can get the job done and look to your future success. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Early in the morning or throughout the night, professional truck drivers are on the job, serving you, safely moving freight that's crucial to our economy. From the oldest industries to our newest innovators, from the exotic to the everyday, trucks are everywhere, moving everything. Never afraid to embrace a future that makes Nevada and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we are delighted to welcome to the program for the first time Debra March. She is the mayor of Henderson. It's a pleasure to have you on the program, ma'am.
What a pleasure it is to join you today, Sam. Thank you for having me.
So let's talk about what's going on in Henderson at this point in time. For those in the north that may not know, Henderson is right next door to Las Vegas in Clark County. Tell us what's going on with the effects of coronavirus. Let's start with business.
You know, when we kicked off the emergency operation back in March, when we received the declaration from the governor, we went ahead and put a lot of programs into play. We have an emergency operations center that we opened up with our emergency manager, and we were able to begin with the end in mind. We started planning for the events, making sure that our community was safe, that we're addressing the health needs of our community, but then also addressing the business community, making sure that the business community had the resources they needed either to stay open or to resume operation when it was safe for them to do so. And basically working across the community to provide resources and to keep the community safe, keep the virus transmission numbers down, and work closely with all of our partners to ensure healthy and safe community.
Are you comfortable with where we are as a state at this point in time with the rules and regulations coming from the governor's office and his committee? You know, for example, the rules on bars not being able to reopen at this point in time. Do you feel that the rules are consistent for the businesses?
You know, I think each community has different issues that they're facing, and I can tell you that the viral transmission numbers are down fairly low in Henderson. I think we're at 54 per 100,000 residents, so that's a pretty low number. The problem is we live in a region and we have to deal with the issues that are affecting all of our regional partners. And if, for example, Henderson were to open up because we had some safe practices that we were implementing, but if you had an issue, say, in a city to the north, we might have to shut down again because folks might come from that city to recreate because they can't do it in their own city. So I think it's important that we're all working together, rowing in the same direction, solving the challenges together. Believe me, I listen to business people every day, all day, and I hear their concerns. And there are certain uses I think that with safe practices could be reopened. And I know there's been discussion down here in our Emergency Operations Center and in the regional MAC that perhaps each county should be able to help have some autonomy and make some decisions independent of the state. But we're working closely with the state, and we're monitoring and following the directive of the governor.
Which businesses would you be comfortable with them reopening at this point that are not open at this time?
That's a good question. I think not only recreation where youth are playing, provided there's protective measures taken, but I think some of the bars and restaurants with bars, and then certainly if we could look at churches and places where folks gather, I think that at this point in time, I think our community would certainly benefit from some spiritual engagement in their churches and gathering with their friends and neighbors to talk about some of the issues that they're facing as well. And you know, we're dealing with a level in all communities, a level of depression that we're seeing an increased rate of suicide. So if people can have places where they can engage with one another, I think it'll be better for people's emotional health as well.
Are you seeing a rise in instances of domestic violence, child abuse, those kind of areas?
All across the board. I think it's just a matter of the social isolation where folks aren't engaging with their neighbors. Kids aren't necessarily playing with the other kids in their neighborhoods. And so if we can create an environment, as we have in some of our rec centers, where we've created the Battle-Born Kids program, we do bring kids together, but we do it in a safe way and keeping kids safe, using masks and social distancing, washing their hands regularly. We're keeping it safe, but we're allowing kids to be able to recreate with one another. I think it's good for everyone's psyche and mental health.
You know, the original concept was to flatten the curve, to make sure that hospitals weren't overwhelmed by a huge number of cases of COVID. We've seen the medical community respond with changes in the way that they are dealing with people who have COVID. Respirators are being returned to places where they were borrowed from because they're not being needed. It seems as though, you know, we've lost sight of what the original motive was for flattening the curve, and at the same time, we're putting businesses and families in greater danger from other things than COVID the longer this goes on.
Yeah, I think we need to, I say we need to be rowing in the boat together. We all need to be solving this together, and we maybe need to try some other things that we haven't been working on or trying as a region, as a state, as a country, to get our businesses open again, because the economic implications of for example, the MGM laying off 18,000 people, that will have huge ramifications for the housing market, for the rental market, for foreclosures in our state. So we need to be mindful of that. But then also, people want to be working. They want to be constructive members of society and giving back, taking care of their home and their property, and giving their kids a good education in a school. And, you know, it would be nice to have kids back in school, but I think we have to be careful as well until we get word that it's safe for them to return to school.
One of the things with companies like MGM, and I don't want to pick on MGM as an example, but companies that are doing layoffs now are looking at you know, a business practice where these were perhaps moves that they were looking at over a long period of time, and it only makes sense for them to downsize. We're also seeing a situation where robotics, which we're probably going to come online within the next 10 years, are going to come along much faster because of this. Are you getting that sense from the businesses you're talking to?
I think there's some right sizing that's going on, and that's why we as a city have been looking at diversifying our economy. In fact, since the economic downturn in 2009, we made conscious decisions in our strategic plan and in our comprehensive plan and economic development strategy to begin attracting business and industries that are good paying jobs so that folks don't have to depend upon the gaming industry, that there's other opportunities and investments. And We've brought like Haas Automation. We have Google, one of 13 in the world. Their facility is under construction right now, and they'll be bringing in 200 jobs at 65,000 a year or better. Haas Automation's jobs, 2,500 jobs at 60,000 a year. So we've focused, since 2009, we have focused on diversifying the economy, bringing in jobs that will be here for the long haul, long after we're gone. These are jobs that advanced manufacturing, where they're creating machines that they build the machines that make machines, right? So we're looking at how we can strengthen our economy, that we're not dependent on one industry. We can't continue to be dependent on one industry. If we do, we're going to be in the same boat another 10 years from now.
Robert Lang was on the program from the Brookings Institute. I'm sure you know him. He's written a book with Dave Demore and another professor from UNLV, and he refers to a new thing called blue lining, where he says that Northern Nevada has benefited far more from tax abatements and things like that in terms of helping the diversification of Nevada, or at least Northern Nevada. Did you need abatements to be able to bring these businesses into Henderson?
I think the abatement certainly helped bringing Haas Automation, which is bringing 2,500 good-paying jobs, or other jobs that we've created in West Henderson, like Toronto Bakery, that has created over 100 jobs. Those were important that they have the abatement. On Water Street, for example, where we have Lifeguard Arena, we're seeing a lot of investment in businesses, but we have opportunity zone sites along Water Street, which has been attractive. So I certainly think those kinds of opportunities or benefits really are something that developers are looking at to make it more attractive for them to come in and do business.
But you're not feeling that you're being cheated by Northern Nevada in terms of the abatements that are being given, because it sounds like you're being able to get abatements when you need them.
Well, I'm not sure what the current policies are with regards to abatement at this point, but we'd certainly like to visit that. I think there's been a focus on small business, and we need to absolutely focus on small business. But when you bring a whale in, if you will, a Haas Automation with 2,500 jobs, you need to offer them something to make it desirable for them to come into our community. They're going to be building 2 million square feet, so they're going to be creating jobs during construction as well as in the operation phase as well. And we want good paying jobs where folks can afford to live, work, and play in our community and can stay here, and they don't have to have necessarily 2 family members working, although they could choose that. But I think those abatements make a big difference.
How is housing at this point? Because I read a recent report that said that housing prices in Southern Nevada are actually dipping a little. Is that what you're hearing, or are they maintaining?
I think I read that same article, but I'm not seeing that yet. At this point, I'm seeing, and I think we'll probably see some things happen when there's some foreclosures that come to the table. But as we've seen in the last economic downturn, there's a market ready, willing, and able right behind them, ready to pick those properties up. I think we're seeing a lot of folks who are leaving California, leaving other states, and coming into Southern Nevada. So and probably Northern Nevada as well. So I'm not entirely convinced that we're going to see the impact that we saw previously 10 years ago.
Yes, in Northern Nevada, we're short 50,000 homes over the next 10 years, so we need to build 5,000 a year, and we're nowhere close to that. We just don't have enough construction workers to be able to maintain that. You've got to be very grateful that construction was allowed to continue during this whole coronavirus.
Yes, and I think that we kept the virus level down pretty low in the construction industry as well. We saw a lot of improvements on our roadways, construction with the Lifeguard Arena, other construction projects, the Google Center, the Amazon Fulfillment Center in West Henderson, the Raiders facility. All of these facilities have been under construction during the COVID virus. So we're grateful that those projects could continue, that we could keep people working. And again, during the last economic downturn, it was us putting, in our community, it was us putting money on the street from the SNPMA public lands money, as well as fuel revenue indexing, that allowed us to keep a lot of people working and keep the economy stronger here and help us to move into recovery much quicker than we would have had we not done that. But you look at the incentives, for example, and the resources that the federal government has put out on the street, and it's much the same. We're putting what's available to us at the local level to the street to keep people working, to keep money circulating in the economy.
Isn't the key to diversifying the economy putting in infrastructure so that when companies come looking at the sites that they can see that the infrastructure is already in place?
I certainly think that's a big part of the equation. I call it setting the table. And for example, on Water Street in Henderson, we're completing a complete streets project where you create a roadway system and put in more modern infrastructure, but create a roadway system that's good for cars, bikes, transit, and all users, and then creating or bringing in the infrastructure to the new sites that will be developed so that it reduces the impact and the cost to the developer who's coming into those sites. So certainly infrastructure on the roadways, or when we build a police station or a fire station, it brings more resources into a neighborhood that reduces costs for folks, but also improves the quality of life for our residents. And certainly when we have developers that want to come in and bring jobs and invest in infrastructure, that's very significant for us.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll talk more about the Raiders after this timeout.
Things are heating up at the Carson Valley Inn. Win your share of $200,000 through September 26th. Cash and free play every weekend, plus 5 times points Fridays. The good times are at CVI.
Ahern Rentals began as Signal Gas Station on Las Vegas Boulevard. Founder John Ahern grew the business by offering rentals. His son Don built on John's legacy, growing Ahern Rentals into the largest independently owned American rental company, with 89 locations in 30 states. Don also brought his experience and vision to equipment manufacturing with Extreme Manufacturing and Snorkel. Today, Ahern Rentals continues to bring its family values to a new generation. Learn more at ahern.com.
Hey guys, are you watching the game at a friend's or the bar again because you can't watch at home with your wife? Or worse, because she kicked you out and kept your couch, your flat screen, and your kids? What's the one thing a man needs when he loses a good woman? A good lawyer. And when he loses a bad woman, he needs a great lawyer. What makes a good woman a bad woman? You tell me. You're the one that can't watch the game in your own home. I'm men's rights attorney Marilyn York, and I represent men in divorce, custody, and family law matters.
The signs and symptoms of cataracts can start out small with subtle changes in your vision. So don't wait. Be proactive and take your vision into your own hands. If you're experiencing the onset of cataracts or just have questions, contact your eye care professional or call Eye Care Associates of Nevada today. Dr. Hiss has years of experience specializing in the surgical correction of eye disorders and has completed over 84,000 vision correcting procedures. At Eye Care Associates of Nevada, we'll change the way you look at the world.
Things are heating up at the Carson Valley Inn. Win your share of $200,000 through September 26th. Cash and free play every weekend, plus 5 times points Fridays. The good times are at CVI.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Debra March. She's the mayor of Henderson, Nevada. And you mentioned the Raiders. People in the rest of the state may not realize that beyond the Allegiant Stadium, which is going to be the Raiders' home on the Las Vegas Strip, there is action going on in Henderson. Would you share with us what's going on?
Well, we have the Raiders corporate headquarters and practice field that's in West Henderson. And when the Raiders were negotiating in Southern Nevada for the Allegiant Stadium, we knew we didn't want the stadium per se in Henderson, but we knew they were going to need a practice location and corporate headquarters where they do business, where 250 employees will be working and living in the community, and you've got a lot of players and player resources and all of those services that come to bear when you have this kind of facility in your community. So we've committed to our partners with the partnership with the Raiders, and we gave them a discount on some land and worked with them to bring that facility to bear. And the land values in West Henderson have increased significantly because of the investment that they've made in West Henderson. And we're seeing other uses that are coming into the area. An Amazon fulfillment facility is going in next to their facility. And Henderson Hospital is actually going to build another hospital right adjacent to the Raiders facility. And then, of course, the Henderson Executive Airport, which is on Raiders Way because we renamed the street, they're making improvements and on bringing in more places for people to park their private planes. So we're seeing a lot more investment in the Henderson Executive Airport as well.
Okay, so a lot of good things going on. Are you seeing any pullbacks because of the economy at this point?
Well, I think there's concern. Folks concerned that we should be very cautious with how we spend our resources, and but I don't necessarily see a pullback. I think that folks who are struggling in small business, we're trying to bring resources to help them. We've got mini grants available for small business, so they can apply for anywhere from $2,500 to $10,000, and we've got about $2 million available. So we're trying to help these small businesses who may be struggling. I mean, people are concerned, especially folks who might be unemployed or facing unemployment or facing limited resources. And certainly we're watching what the federal government is doing, and we work closely with our federal delegation to make sure that resources are coming into our communities to address our residents' needs.
All right, let's take another break, and we'll be right back with the mayor of Henderson after this timeout.
Dimitri Prine here for Design Outdoor. At Design Outdoor, we specialize in all hardscapes, pavers, and walls you'll need for everything, from wonderful small yards to full-blown outdoor living. And we only refer the best contractors to make your vision a reality. Our store and backyard are located at 11600 South Virginia, just north of DeMonte Ranch Parkway. Visit designoutdoor.com or call us at 851-9499.
I'm men's rights attorney Marilyn York, and because I represent men in all family law matters, women often call me gender traitor, woman hater, and even disgusting. So why represent men and target myself with these offensive monikers? It's simple. Children with fathers in their lives are 6 times less likely to drop out of school, 15 times less likely to go to prison, and 5 times less likely to commit suicide. So ladies, you can hate me, but please love your children more than you hate their fathers.
Hi, I'm Dave Newman. Remember me? I used to be the house detective, and now I'm a realtor, full-time at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates. A lot of people ask me, how's the market? You know what? It's fantastic. If you're even kicking around the idea of buying or selling, give me a call. Let's talk about it. Call me at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates and just ask for the guy who used to be the house detective, Dave Newman.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Debra March. She is the mayor of Henderson. So back in last December, Steve Hill of the Convention Authority, the Las Vegas Convention Authority, talked on this program about the potential expansion of the Boring Company, going from not just at the Convention Center, but all across the Las Vegas Valley. And that was brand new news at that point in time. Now, the Convention Authority is going to buy the monorail, and that takes away the non-compete, and already we've got Encore is building a line into the Convention Authority. You've got Resorts World doing the same thing. What is the potential? Has there been discussion about the Boring Company and doing things in Henderson?
We haven't had that conversation at this point. I serve as vice chair of the Regional Transportation Commission down here in Southern Nevada. And, you know, I think one of our concerns is that all you're doing is creating more lanes of traffic. You still have to have single vehicles. We need to figure out how to have vehicles that can carry multiples of people to move large numbers of people. And that was why we looked at light rail or bus rapid transit that we're looking at on the Maryland Parkway corridor. It's just that we need to move a lot of people as populations grow. We don't need more single vehicle cars with 1 or 2 people in it. We need to be able to have a vehicle that maybe takes 30 people and moves them to a location, because that creates the efficiency and gets people off the roadways. And this is essentially an underground roadway, right? So I want to understand more. It's something, I think it's a wonderful, unique, new solution to some transportation challenges that we have, and certainly will help with the convention solutions that we need to be finding in our community. But is it going to move folks from the southwest of the valley to the university? I don't know if it's going to carry enough people to have the impact that we want to have.
Okay, now is that just your opinion, or is that the general opinion of the board members of the RTC? Okay, have other members of the board of the RTC talked with you about this?
It hasn't come up as a discussion point at the RTC. I know we're looking at the Maryland Parkway corridor for the bus rapid transit. I know there's still a push to have high speed or some kind of rail system on Maryland Parkway, but I don't think because of the cost of it that will necessarily be the solution that we can pursue at this time, certainly in view of what's happening with the coronavirus and other challenges that we're facing, whether it's homelessness or other issues in our community that we have to solve. You know, we have to look at the price point as well.
To say the least. Well, that's where we have to leave it for now, but please come back again soon and let's continue this conversation.
Thank you very much.
And we'll be right back. A bird's eye captures its surroundings at different heights. At Brian Culpa Photography, we can make your imagination soar over buildings, parks, cityscapes, and beyond. Brian's images tell the story and get the job done. If you need a new perspective to tell your story, contact Brian today. Brian Culpa Photography. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
Hi, my name's Marilyn Miner, and I'm sure you'd agree that Nevada's a very special place to live. I was born here, and my husband and I have raised our family here. I feel it's a privilege to live and work in the Truckee Meadows. I especially enjoy helping my clients reach their real estate goals. Sometimes the smallest details provide the greatest satisfaction. I'd be complimented to talk to you about your next move.
Call Marilyn Miner at Dixon Realty, 742-1280, or log on to marilynminer.com.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions, and all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
Pro Group Management is the place where companies can find workers' comp solutions that are designed to meet their specific business requirements. As regulations evolve, Pro Group takes a proactive approach to clear the path to make sure your business stays ahead of the curve. Knowing your workers' comp program is optimized, you can focus on other important matters related to your growing business. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
You can now watch Nevada Newsmakers on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and search for Nevada Newsmakers and become a subscriber. We'll see you on the next broadcast. Thanks for watching and listening.